Frosmoth is a Pokemon that has one of the worst defensive typings in the game, but has a lot of unique properties and has actually done well winning an online tournament in the late stages of Regulation F. We're going to be trying out and seeing how well it can perform. This is a Frosmoth team that did extremely well winning an online tournament in the late stages of Regulation F. It is pretty much a very similar team to the team from the early formats with Como that the players from Spain ended up working on at the early stages of Regulation F. And it has that same core, the Amoonguss Incineroar Porygon 2, always a really bulky core that's pretty obnoxious to deal with. You have Trick Room Speed Control, you have Pollen Puff Healing, and you have the Tinglu with the Vessel of Ruin with the Assault Vest to help out against special attackers, and the very defensive Como that can set up with the Iron Defense. The only really unique mon here, and the one that makes it interesting, is going to be the Tera Water Frosmoth that has Quiver Dance, a way that you can set up instead of like what was a Golden Go or Flutter Mane, which is able to take attacks extremely well. You have the Como that's able to tank attacks from the physical side with its high physical defense and iron defense. And the Frosmoth here is a unique property with Ice Scales, which is really nice to be able to tank special attacks, as the Quiver Dance option as well to boost its special defense while boosting its special attack and speed, alongside the Tinglu Vessel of Ruin to really make it hard to knock out Frosmoth. And even though it doesn't have the best defensive typing in the world, we have used Frosmoth on this channel a few times, and with Tera it makes it a really strong option because you're able to get rid of that 4 times weakness to rock, to fire, and get rid of all those weaknesses that you have with the ice typing and go for a better defensive typing like the water one. This one able to threaten Pokemon like Raging Bolt and quite a few others because ice coverage is just really good in the format. It's really good against the Landorus Incarnate, which can give this team a bit of problems. It's a really nice pick, so it really makes sense that it's able to do well on this team that has a defensive nature as well, with Pollen Puff's Rage Power support from the Amoonguss, as well as the Fake Out support from the Incineroar with that Intimidate, and can function well under Trick Room and hits pretty hard even without the boost. If you would like to check out the details of the team and the creator as well as the report that they wrote, it will be linked in the description down below. All right, we have a Sun team, which isn't really the greatest thing for Frosmoth. We have the Ogerpon, Heartflame, Tornadus Incarnate Form, Flutter Mane, Rillaboom, Walking Wake, and Torkoal. Oh man, it actually sucks because Frosmoth I think is actually pretty good because there's a lot of special attackers involved. It wasn't for that Heartflame, and of course the 4 times weakness to our 4 times weakness to the fire type attacks, we'd be fine. I'm also worried about Grassy Glide stuff, so this is not going to be an easy one per se. I think it could be manageable, but I don't think Como is really it because there is the Flutter Mane and there is the Walking Wake, which are pretty big concerns to Como. Tinglu's pretty good, Porygon 2's pretty good. Amoonguss can be okay, I think, in this matchup because it can Spore the Torkoal, but I'm not exactly 100% certain. I might want to bring Frosmoth because Tornadus lead I think is probably the scariest, I'm pretty sure. So I want to try out, I think, the Frosmoth plus the Incineroar lead, which I don't think is too bad here. It is a little bit weak against the Torkoal, maybe the Wake and the Ogerpon. But if that is the case, then I could reposition with Porygon and Tinglu, which I think is okay. So I'm going to try this out and see how it goes. I want to bring Tinglu for the Torkoal and to handle the Flutter Mane a little bit better, as well as the Porygon 2, because Trick Room is actually pretty valuable in this matchup. Especially because I don't know if this Torkoal is going to be one of those maybe eject pack sets. Maybe it could be a Helping Hand supportive set and not one of the offensive ones because it's not really a Trick Room team. But we are going to see the Flutter Mane and the Tornadus. So not a bad lead because Frosmoth is actually in a pretty good position. The Incineroar is also in a pretty nice one. Although if Flutter Mane does a Power Gem, it is actually a bit concerning. But do I want to risk that is the question, because they could Power Gem into quite a bit here of slots. So I could go in a Tinglu here and maybe just go for a Tera if I really, really want to. I could also just switch out to the Frosmoth and go out into my Tinglu, but of course if they do go for a Fairy move instead, because if they don't have Power Gem, it's actually really bad. It's a very awkward situation. So you know what? I think I'm going to risk it. I'm just going to go for an Ice Beam immediately off into Tornadus, and I'm going to go for a... I think I want a Parting Shot out the Flutter Mane. Let's see if they actually go for a Fairy type move or not. They're actually going to go for a Taunt. No Sunny Day immediately, which is nice actually. No Terras involved. They are worried about a potential Quiver Dance or a Wide Guard. It looks like they just go for a Dazzling Gleam, which that is definitely a specs damage there, as Ice Beam going to be fired off into Tornadus. And A lot of damage, not enough to pick up the knockout, but we are able to get a parting shot off into that Flutter Mane. And now we're going to be able to bring out maybe like the Porygon 2. Or I could try something else here and go out into the Tinglu. Of course, we would take a lot of damage from a Dazzling Gleam, but I don't think Tinglu is too bad. The Flutter Mane is at -1 special attack at the moment. I do want to probably knock out the Torn with Frosmoth, so I don't think this is that bad of a position. So I'm going to go for an Ice Beam into the Torn to get rid of it. And the question is, what do I want to do with the Tinglu? I could go for the Tera. I don't think it's really necessary. I probably want to maybe Snarl here. Actually, I'm trying to think what's better. I think it's Ice Beam to Frost. If I do go for Snarl to take the knockout into Tornadus, I would like to Ice Beam the Flutter Mane. Main reason is because I would like to get some damage into Flutter Mane if it stays in, or if it switches out, which is kind of what I'm anticipating, because they want to reset the special attack drop. I think I'm just going to go for Snarl and Ice Beam in the Flutter Mane, get some damage off, but they're just going to go for Dazzling Gleam, so they would have given me both Pokemon, which I'm a bit surprised about. Get a critical hit on Frostmoth, which is not really great for me. It will activate my Citrus Berry at least. Okay, so let's see what they decide to do. Going to be Bleak Wind, and they do risk the Mist, Tinglu Voids, which really wouldn't have done that much damage. The Frostmoth taking the damage is probably bigger. Speed drop, a little bit annoying, as Snarl does connect, thankfully, at least on the Tornadus. As the Tornadus goes down, we are able to get an Ice Beam off into the Flutter Mane. So I was a little bit worried because I didn't want them to give them a free switch. Maybe they got a free Tailwind or maybe a Sunny Day Up. Then they can have Photosynthesis attacks with like a double combination of Walking Wake if they went into it next to Flutter Mane. So that's why I went for the Snarl there instead of taking the KO. But it looks like they would have given me the KO. So I'm kind of curious on who's in the back. I would expect the Walking Wake in the back, but we'll find out, I suppose. We did get rid of the Taunt user though, which was the Tornadus, so that's actually pretty nice. There is no Sun currently up on the field, so they're not going to have the most offensive pressure right here, but that Walking Wake is a little bit scary. Now the question is, do I want to go for the Terra or not immediately and maybe go for a Snarl, or do I just want to switch out into maybe like the Porygon? I think in this case I'd probably be forced to go for the... I think I am forced to actually just attack the Walking Wake. I'm actually going to go for my Tera. Gonna go for the Tera Poison, and I'm actually gonna go for a Snarl into the Walking Wake, get some chip damage, but mainly just resist these attacks. We're gonna actually see a Tera come out from my opponent. It looks like it's gonna be that Walking Wake. Is that Tera Fire? Are you risky? Oh, Tera Water. Okay, so they're really going for the damage. We'll reduce the damage output of my Frostmoth's Ice Beam as well, but I mean, I don't seem it's gonna do a decent amount, but the point is to get Porygon 2 in safely and then just threaten a lot more, so I'm okay with this. Like that Flutter Mane is at -2. They didn't switch out, so it's not like they're getting a boost with Walking Wake with like Hydro Steam from the Torkoal maybe in the back potentially. I don't know if the Torkoal's in the back because I feel like they would have brought it out, but a Dazzling Gleam going to be fired off. As you can see, just really not doing any damage. They go for a Hydro Steam, and it's going to do a decent amount of damage to my Walking Wake, but I do have that Assault Vest, and I did get rid of my weakness to that Water type move as Life Orb damage. Okay, a Snarl will come out to lower that damage on the Wake, which is beautiful. Perfect. That's really nice. As Ice Beam going to be fired off into the Wake, get some, you know, decent chip. It's actually not bad damage. We do shake off the Taunt, which is actually kind of nice. Although, even if I Quiver Dance now, it's not really a great position for me, because I did get that speed drop from earlier, so I'm not able to outspeed anything. Trying to think about... probably Porygon 2 is pretty safe. I think I'm going to go Porygon 2 and... trying to figure out what I want to go for. I don't think I want to take the KO on Flutter Mane, although I really feel they should be switching out Flutter Mane soon or then later. I think I'm just going to go for a Stomping Tantrum once again into the Wake and get some damage off. We are finally going to see the Flutter Mane retreat. All right, so we get to reveal the last Pokemon, which is completely fine for me here, which is going to be the Ogerpon. So Ogerpon is revealed, no Torkoal in the back, which means Trick Room is very, very safe. They already used up their Terror, so they can't go for like a big Ivy Cudgel into my Porygon 2 with a +1 from the Tera. So looking like a pretty good position. A Porygon 2 going to come in, get a download boost, going to be the attack, not special attack, but that's all right. Flamethrower going to be fired off into Frosmoth, which is even better for me because Porygon, as you can see, absolutely is set up. I take no damage on the Tinglu. I'm able to get free Stomping Tantrum off into the Walking Wake, and yeah, now that Walking Wake is very low, goes down to any attack basically, other than maybe Snarl, but I can go for a Trick Room here very safely. I think I'm going to go into Incineroar. Even if they go for the Hydro Steam into the Tinglu slot, as long as I'm able to get the Trick Room up, it's looking really bad for them because I do not see any way of really being able to break through this Porygon 2, especially under the Trick Room. So I'll probably be able to get some knockouts, especially with the Flare not being able to protect, because it most likely is going to be that Choice Spec set. So we'll bring out the Incineroar, get that Intimidate off into Ogerpon. I think they need double crit here to pick up the knockout. We are going to see the Hydro Steam be fired off probably into what was the Incineroar. Yep, that's fine. I do not mind that, because I'm okay with getting that free switch into one of my more offensive threats. So that's perfectly acceptable. And yeah, that Walking Wake is very, very low at this point. Ivy Cudgel going to be coming out, but that is a-okay. As you can see, does no damage to the Porygon. Maybe I'd even have to go for that switch, but it's a-okay by me, as I will get a free switch into... Do I want to go Frosmoth or do I want to go Tinglu is the question. I probably just want to go Tinglu here and just go for some damage into that Ogerpon with maybe a Stomping Tantrum plus a... Do I want to try attack or do I want to Ice Beam? Because the Flutter Mane could switch in. I could also see the Walking Wake switching out for Flutter Mane, which is fine. I think I'd rather just go for a Tera Blast and just a Stomping Tantrum into the Ogerpon. Even if they Spike a Shield, it's okay. Looks like they're not going to stall out any turns of Trick Room, so I am able to get a free Stomping Tantrum, a free Tera Blast as well into that Ogerpon. Not really doing that much damage because of the the Vessel of Ruin. Ivy Cudgel going to be fired off into Tinglu, and a Draco Meteor going to be fired off into Tinglu as well. But the Tinglu is able to survive, and that's actually pretty clutch, because that means a goodbye to Walking Wake. So Walking Wake is eliminated to its own life orb. Interesting. I guess that makes sense though. The Draco Meteor is more powerful than the Hydro Steam, but now Flutter Mane comes in. I guess they do have the access to go for Follow Me if they have it with Ogerpon. I will just go for the double up into the Flutter Mane. Should be able to pick up a knockout pretty safely, and if Ogerpon follows me, I get rid of the Ogerpon, and then I do not think the Flutter Mane can win the remainder. So I will go for the Stomping Tantrum into the Flutter Mane and a Ice Beam as well into Flutter Mane. We should be pretty safe here. Now, trying to figure out what they could really do. I mean, I think they have to get the play right at least with the Ogerpon, but I still think we're in a pretty good position. Stomping Tantrum is going to be fired off. Just knocks out the Flutter Mane, so Ice Beam going to get redirected into the Ogerpon, so this is perfect. Just get a little bit more damage. Nice. And Horn Leech. Okay, so they didn't even target down to Tinglu, so this is going to be game over for them, it looks like, because... I think I just want to go for Recover with Porygon 2. There's really no problem with it, and I'm just going to go for a Sand Tomb, I suppose, just to see if they're going to go for a Spiky Shield to finally, you know, stall out that remainder Trick Room. We are going to see that Spiky Shield. Yep, so I am able to get a Recover off. And this is perfect because Porygon 2 with a free Recover. This is a -1 Ogerpon. I still have multiple Pokemon here with Porygon, Tinglu, and the Frosmoth, so I will be in pretty good shape. So there really was not much that they really could do. I think that's the thing about not having the Torkoal in the back, and they didn't really go for any Sunny Day, so they were actually like really limited their damage output, and I was just able to lower it with that Vessel of Ruin, so, and they Intimidate from Incineroar, so I will just go for a Tera Blast, I suppose, and a Stomping Tantrum into Ogerpon. Even if they go for the double spike, you can get it. That's okay, because I think Frosmoth should still be pretty acceptable, as Ice Beam should be able to easily pick up the knockout into the Ogerpon. And yeah, even if Tinglu goes down, I think it's, again, still very acceptable here. So Tinglu eliminated, but the Frosmoth should be able to finish up this end game. If not, the Porygon Tri-Attack might just pick up the knockout there. And was this last turn of Trick Room, I think, coming up? This is the second to last turn, and then, oh no, this was the last turn of Trick Room, which is fine. I'm just going Frostmoth. If I click Protect, I go for a Trick Room because the Ogerpon can't possibly punish me. And yeah, I just keep going for these plays. So Trick Room, go for Protect, pretty safe forward. Even if they go for Ivy Cudgel and they crit my Porygon, it is a neutral one, so yeah, they're really not getting much value out of it. So they go for Ivy Cudgel into the Frosmoth, but yeah, again, no hope here of them potentially winning. I guess I could have just went for Ice Beam and Tri-Attack, but you know what? If we can get the potential final KO with Frosmoth, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. So I am going to bring, because I was the one who was insane enough to bring a Frosmoth into a team of Torkoal, Ogerpon, Heartflame, and a Walking Wake. So battle gonna be forfeited. They finally realized, and yeah, not really much that they could do. So was really able to get some really good damage off the bat. They really didn't get any momentum with the Flutter Mane staying in, and I was just able to get Trick 'em up pretty safely. Whimsicott, Mousehold, Flutter Mane, Entity, Dunsparce, I think it is, and a Amoonguss. Okay. It's gonna be a little bit of a strange one, but I'm okay against this team for the most part. The Dunsparce is a little bit scary because I'm not exactly sure what to expect, but I think it'll be fine. I want to bring the Frosmoth Incineroar, I think, which is pretty good against like Flutter Mane and a few other combinations. Porygon's pretty tempting. I don't think I'll need it though. I don't think I need Trick 'em specifically in this matchup, especially because they have their own Amoonguss, which is actually a little bit annoying to deal with. So I think I want to bring my Amoonguss and just a Tinglu to help out against the Flutter Mane, because if I get into a position where it's like, oh, I have Tinglu and Frosmoth against the Flutter Mane, the damage output against Frosmoth is so little. So if I can get a few Quiver Dances up during that time period, because they have a lot of support Pokemon, right? They have a Entity plus a Whimsicott, which is kind of surprising because Whimsicott usually uses priority moves, and the Whimsicott does usually like to use those priority moves like Encore, Fake Tears, stuff like that against the opponent. But okay, this is not a lead I would have expected. Okay, then Dunsparce plus the Mousehold. We will get an Intimidate off into the Dunsparce and the Mousehold as Rattled. Wait, Intimidate? Rattled is definitely something interesting, but okay. I'm going to go into Amoonguss for the Frosmoth because I think they're going to target the Frosmoth slot. And I think I'm going to go for a Parting Shot, I suppose, into the Dunsparce. I am not sure what exactly this is going to be, but you know what? I'm going to go for it. I don't know if this is a support Mousehold or if they're just a Population Bomb. I'm not risking Population Bomb, so I'm going to Amoonguss because it's safe here. As we are going to see a Tera right away. Don't tell me this is some stored power. This is Tera on the Dunsparce. Tera Ghost. Okay, I don't know why they Tera Ghost immediately. Is this actually for Beto? Oh my goodness, it is actually beat up stuff. Okay. Yep, it is a weakness policy. The Dunsparce. Okay. Wait, is this actually stored power? Because my memory is actually, I've seen this before, and I have used stored power in like a friendly before when I messed around, like the really early days of Sword and Shield, learning about the new Pokemon. Oh my god. Yeah, that was not the best option. Okay. On the bright side, here's a Parting Shot onto the Dunsparce. That's going to lower a lot there of its damage output. Okay. I think this is okay though. I'm gonna go Frosmoth. That's actually crazy. We're going Frosmoth. I'm going out into my Tinglu now. I think I'm just gonna click Snarl. I think Snarl should be fine. Because this is only +1 special attack. Sword power. Doesn't do too much. I'm a little bit worried if they have Encore though. Is it bad for me just to go for the Quiver Dance? How much damage am I taking is the question. I do have Ice Scales, the Vessel of Ruin. You know what? I'm going to risk it. I'm Quiver Dancing. I'm Quiver Dancing. I don't want to risk the... I'd rather not risk the Encore. And they go for Protect. So this could be Super Fang, which is fine here. I'm okay with this. I'm glad I went for the Quiver Dance. Unless they went for Taunt. Then that's... Alright, I'm getting bodied by this Dunsparce. But the Snarl... I should have them very concerned. I still think that this is a very winnable game because they don't have the best off. Oh, it's wait, that's Covert Cloak Mousehold, or that's that's because it's not Clear Amulet. It's Covert Cloak. Okay. I'm going for Snarl and Trying to figure out if I should go Incineroar or not here. Incineroar could still really win this endgame, so I think it's probably worth just to get some damage off into the mouse hold. Sword power is fine. Yeah, that does no damage actually. They do go for the Encore, which is fine. So we're locked into Encore, or into Snarl from the Encore, but like I want to use Snarl. Like that's the point of this. Ice Beam, pretty good damage in the mouse hold considering the Vessel of Ruin. Snarl gonna lower that damage output on the Dunsparce. So yeah, it's really not doing that much damage back at neutral. So I am okay with this. I'm gonna go for a Snarl again. I'm gonna go for a do I want to go Incineroar? I mean, I'm just not taking any damage, so I don't think it's really necessary. I think I'm just going to go for another Ice Beam into the mouse hold and try to get rid of it. If they protect, that's fine. It's not like this. It's not really like they're doing too much damage across the board here. And if they have Super Fang, I'd rather just... What do they have? They have Beat Up. We saw Encore. We saw Taunt. Is it Follow Me? Is the last one? Is it not even Super Fang? I guess that's Ultra Ball tier for you, because I don't know what happened. That Dunsparce rattled on out of there. I'll just say that much. Landorus Incarnate Form, Pelipper, Urshifu, Arcaladon with Fluttermane and Amoonguss. Very scary team. A lot of special attackers though, which means Frosmoth can put in a lot of work against this team. Got to be a little bit concerned though about the Arcaladon as well as the Urshifu. Amoonguss going to be in a really good position. The Frosmoth as well is really solid here. So those are going to be like really important picks. I don't know if I want to bring Porygon. It's not bad here. Incineroar, it's not really helpful. It doesn't really do much. So I think it's like, I think I already know my 4. Although Como could put in, I guess, a bit of work, I suppose. I don't really like it though too much. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to go with... Hurricane's going to be super threatening right off the bat. I think I'm going to go with Frosmoth. I think Frosmoth's pretty good. Frosmoth plus the Amoonguss seems like a pretty safe play for the most part. And in the back, I think Tinglu is pretty solid, and probably the Porygon is the last. Incineroar doesn't really accomplish too much. The Como doesn't really do anything here. The main part of this game plan is going to be a lot about just, I think, setting up the Frosmoth for a good win position, because Ice Scales just allows the Frosmoth to absorb these attacks extremely well. Although it could be Heavy Slam, I guess, on the Arcaladon, because if it's Heavy Slam on Arcaladon, that changes it. I feel like with Rain Team Flash Cannon should be the standard, but I mean, that's something I will have to note. Well, let's find out. Going to be Urshifu and Landorus, which... I am a-okay with that because I do lead the Frosmoth and the Amoonguss, so this is a pretty good lead for me right off the bat because I just get a free Quiver Dance and I can just go for a Rage Powder. I'm really not worried about the Landorus attacks onto my Frosmoth, and the Amoonguss can just Rage Powder pretty safely, and I will go for a Rage Powder because if they do try to go for Surging Strikes into my Frosmoth, they take like 50% of their health, so I will gladly take that. The Landorus also has to be worried about me just going straight for the Ice Beam, and I could go straight for the Ice Beam if I want to. I could also go straight for the Tera Water and go for like a Spore play plus a Quiver Dance, which isn't like a terrible option, but I'd rather not have to risk my Tera if I not so need to. But we are going to actually see a retreat from the Landorus into Pelipper, maybe for Surging Strikes. If this is Goggles or Tera Grass, I'll be very sad. But it looks like it's just a Fluttermane switch, which is a-okay. Going to be that booster energy on the Fluttermane. And let's see what the Fluttermane is. Speed booster, okay? Looks like Urshifu stayed in though, so let's see. Are you actually safety goggles on Urshifu? Most of these Arcaladon teams run Scarf usually. It's just U-turn, okay. So that's perfectly fine. Maybe Landorus comes back in again, but that was just a free momentum turn. If I went for a Spore, it would have been probably a better position, but not really want to play greedy because if the opponent like Surging Strikes turn 1, like that would not have been pretty. So we're gonna see the Pelipper come back in. Okay. Don't mind Pelipper coming in, as I am going to be able to get a free Quiver Dance off with the Frosmoth, and now I'm at +1 special attack, special defense, and speed. And I should outspeed Pelipper as long as it's not Timid Pelipper. And if it's Timid Pelipper, I guess we'll find out. But I do like the play of potentially... I don't see a problem with just Quiver Dancing with Frosmoth again and just protecting the Amoonguss. I was thinking of potentially going Amoonguss for the... Tinglu, but the problem with making that play is then Urshifu can get a free switch, and I don't think that's pretty ideal because if they switch into Urshifu, it would be not great. They go for Protect with Fluttermane, which is interesting. Maybe scouting for like a Tera Water Amoonguss play plus a Spore, which is a-okay by me because Amoonguss is able to protect freely here. I get a free Quiver Dance in. What are they doing against Frosmoth? What are you doing against Frosmoth? We do confirm that the Pelipper's slow at least, which is good. They go for the Hurricane into Amoonguss. Oh my goodness. It's sometimes a bit too easy. I'm not really too worried about the Flutter Mane. Even if it's Taunt or Icy Wind Flutter Mane, it's not that big of a deal. I'm going to target down the Pelipper. I'm going to go out in my Tinglu because I'm going to reduce the damage that they could do. I am reducing the damage of Ice Beam a bit, but I am assuming Sash on Pelipper usually, so I don't think this is that big of a deal. I'll also be able to observe the Hurricane, plus like the Gleams like extremely well with Frosmoth with the Vessel of Ruin. I want to see them try Icy Wind. Not really any damage to Frosmoth. Okay, I'm not really too concerned about my speed on Frosmoth. I mean, now I don't outspeed Landorus, but I don't think I outspeed Landorus even at +2, so it's not even that big of a deal. Ice Beam, pretty good damage in the Pelipper. We do confirm it is the Focus Sash, so it didn't matter. And let's see if it's that Hurricane going to be targeting down the Amoonguss. Yep, it is going to be that Hurricane into what was the Amoonguss slot. Perfect. And now, again, in a really good spot, I'm just going to go for an Ice Beam into the... Don't know if Pelipper protects or not, I guess is the question. I could Ice Beam the Flutter Mane. I do kind of want to Ice Beam the Flutter Mane, but I'm not too sure because I could definitely see Pelipper protecting. But then again, it is still like Flutter Mane just can't do anything to Frosmoth. Like the worst thing that the Flutter Mane offers is taunt pressure into Amoonguss on a switch. So I am just going to Ice Beam the Pelipper slots to try to get rid of it because that's the main thing that's threatening my Amoonguss with the Hurricane damage. And then like, oh, I'll be able to win otherwise because this should be like Hydro Pump potentially or Weather Ball into the Tinglu. Either that or protect here, which I think is fine. They actually go for a Moonblast. They might be going for a double up into the Amoonguss, but since they didn't Icy Wind, Frosmoth confirmed to be faster than Pelipper, get off an attack before even risking potential Hurricane, so I am able to eliminate the Pelipper, and now Pelipper gone, feeling in a pretty good spot. And yeah, they didn't bring our Caledon. Don't know why you didn't bring our Caledon, but we are going to see the Landers come out and just a cry for help. We are going to go for an Ice Beam into the Lander slot and what do I want to do here? Actually, I'm not really too scared about Landorus too much. I guess my play is just to Ice Beam the Flutter Mane and just go for Protect with the Amoonguss. Yeah, I think that's okay here. We're going to see a Tera. I'm assuming this is a defensive Tera from the Landis, which is why I didn't bother clicking Ice Beam into it. We are going to see the defensive Tera, probably the Poison. Okay, Poison. I thought it might have been Steel on this team, but that's fine too. Okay. I wonder if Ice Beam actually KOs still, because it is still a +2 Ice Beam from a decent special attack stat. We are going to protect our Amoonguss. Yeah, they do have Taunt on the Flutter Mane, so I'm kind of glad I went for the Protect on the Amoonguss to scout. And let's see what they decide to click. Sludge Bomb into Frosmoth, which should not do any damage. This Pokemon's fun. This Pokemon's fun. An Ice Beam into Flutter Mane, some pretty good damage. Rain Stops, perfect. So they have Sands here. It's not really going to be a big deal. I guess I'm just going to weaken the Landorus and go on a Tinglu, I suppose. Not really much that they can really do. Like, at this point, I'm pretty sure if I get rid of the Landorus, I'm pretty sure Amoonguss just wins just by being able to stick around, really. There really is not much that they can do. So let's see what they decide to go for. Tinglu will come out. Let's see. Icy Wind, perfectly fine. And yeah, like the damage output that they have is pretty low. Like I do reduce my own damage of Ice Beam and the Landis, but I don't need the knockout. I don't think it's really that important. They go for a Sludge Bomb again into the Amoonguss slot this time. Okay. Tinglu actually took a little bit more than expected, but Ice Beam going to come out. Yeah, I actually would have been able to knock out the Landis if I didn't switch in Tinglu, but that's fine. This is just a safe. I guess I'm just going to Ice Beam the Landers and I'm just going to go for a Stomping Tantrum into the Flutter Mane. Yeah, that's fine. Because I do have Tera Water on the Frosmoth, so I'm pretty sure I'm always good against the Urshifu regardless. And they're not going to protect either, so I get a double knockout here. Look at how little that Moonblast did. And the Earth Power going to come out. And not enough damage. I am going to be able to get a Ice Beam off into the Landorus, going to pick up a knockout. A Stomping Tantrum also going to be fired off into the Flutter Mane for a knockout. And I guess that's what happens when you're running a rain team with no fire type Pokemon and your only mon that really does damage to Frosmoth, it was not even brought. Like, even with rain, at least electro shots building up damage output, and if you're flash cannon, that's kind of fine because at least you have the electro shot to pressure. But yeah, it did not work out for my opponent. Urshifu going to come out, but this is where I get to say I'm going to go for a Tera. I guess I'm just going to go for a... I don't want to go for a Tera. I guess I'm just going to Ice Beam because I can freeze, I suppose. It also does more damage technically. Just go into Mungus and then Rage Powder the Urshifu's attacks afterward. And yeah, we'll wrap that up from here. So Mungus is super safe here. Let's see. And unless they go for a hard close combat raid, and even if they go for a hard close combat raid, it doesn't even change anything because then I just go Porygon 2. I click Trick Room plus Rage Powder or Spore or anything really, and I just win the game. So let's see how much Surging Strikes does, I suppose. You know, Frosmoth, I guess with the resist is actually doing a lot better than I thought because normally Frosmoth's defense isn't exactly that great, but with that resist it's actually taking it better than I thought even with the resist. So yep, like Frosmoth is just so healthy right now. And let's see how much this +2 Ice Beam does to the Urshifu. I'm not expecting a knockout just because Urshifu is pretty decently bulky, but pretty good respectable damage. And yeah, now we just win by clicking Rage Powder plus Ice Beam, and yep, they can't do anything. So Frosmoth just soloed the team. I don't know what to say. They did bring our Caledon, which don't know why you didn't bring our Caledon in this unless you really were like limiting the options of what you could do there, but I'll definitely take it. Ooh, this one can be tricky. The Gouging Fire plus our Caledon for Farigiraf or Shifu, Galarian Zapdos, and the Wellspring Ogerpon. They actually have a very physical team, so maybe Como. This might be a Como game. Yeah, this is probably a Como game. So I do like Como. Do I want to go Porygon 2 or not, I guess is the question, because they do have Farigiraf, which kind of leads me to believe it might be Imprisoned Trick Room. So I think I'm going to go with Como. I think Como's really solid here because they don't really have the best answers to it. Como plus a Mungus seems like my best lead here. I'm not really needing a Tinglu here. I don't think I need Porygon 2 Trick Room, especially if it is Imprisoned Farigiraf. That would probably be the standout here because their team doesn't exactly look like it's super Trick Room friendly. I wonder if it's going to be Scarf on the Galarian Zapdos like we've been seeing, or maybe like the Focus Sash coaching session, but I don't think it's really necessary on this team that they have. I definitely bring in Incineroar and I think Frosmoth in the back. I do got to watch out a little bit about Urshifu because Urshifu is actually pretty concerning. If I do want to go for the Tera, if anything, it might be my Amoonguss has to be forced to Tera because I will be taking a lot of damage coming up. But they don't have a Shein Pow, so Heat Crash is not knocking out the Amoonguss from Gouging Fire from the first turn, if I'm not mistaken. So that's at least nice. This could actually be like, I don't know, maybe a Dragonette's Clear Amulet set with coaching, but we're going to see Urshifu plus the Galarian Zapdos lead. Okay. Which is a-okay. I can go for a Tera with Amoonguss if I really want to. I don't think it's necessary, but it might be in my best interest. I'm trying to figure out if I do want to. I think I'd rather just go straight for the Iron Defense with Como and a... The question is, do they even target Como? I think that's the question. Do they even want to target down the Como? I think I'm just going to Rage Powder and just go for the Iron Defense turn 1, because if I do get an Iron Defense, they're already in a really awkward spot because then I'm going to be set up to do a lot of damage against Farigiraf or Caledon, even if it's in the bag. They can't really do that much damage back to the Como, so I think we'll be okay, but we're going to see a Tera immediately from my opponent, so this is an interesting decision. Going to be the Tera on the Galarian Zapdos immediately. Going to be the Tera flying. Oh, that damage output's going to hurt. Okay. So we do Rage Powder. Brave Bird. So they're going to knock out, I guess, the Amoonguss turn 1. They take a ton of recoil in the process, though. Okay. I don't know how the damage output's going to line up. That is my one concern here. Close combat is going to do a decent amount to the Como. All right. But as long as I do have the Iron defense setup. I don't think it's awful, but these next turns are going to be a little bit concerning. All right. We'll get some leftovers recovery with Como. I think we go out into Incineroar now. Yeah, and then we click fake out into the Galarian Zapdos and probably a body press. Unfortunately, we didn't break a potential focus sash on their Shifu, which is like the only big problem. If this isn't Scarf Zapdos, we're in a lot of trouble, but like... oh, I guess if they have Farigiraf, this is a mind game too. Huh. Actually, this could be very much. So you know what? I'm not going to fall for a Farigiraf play. I'm just going to go for a knockoff into the Galarian Zapdos and protect. We are going to see the swap from Urshifu, so this might be Farigiraf. Oh, perfect. Okay. Whew. Okay. That's good. That's good because I protected the Como. I got a knockoff into the Zapdos, so pretty decent position. Okay. So good by Galarian Zapdos. That's their Tera gone as well, which is good. All right, I think maybe, yeah, I do think that was the play. I could have Terastalled as well. It is Choice Scarf on the Galarian Zapdos, so that bait actually ended up working out. They were really tempted again with Farigiraf. I saw when I realized they had Farigiraf as a potential switch. I'm really glad I didn't go for the fake out play. I'm like, okay, this should work out fine, and it looks like it did. We're gonna see their Shifu come back out though. Now, close combat is still really super threatening, and yeah, there's not really too much I can do here. Trying to think, what would their last be? I'm a little bit... All their lasts are actually very concerning. The thing is, I have no idea if the Farigiraf's psychic or not. That's my biggest concern. Also, how fast the Farigiraf is. I feel like this would be in Prison Trick Room, but I just don't know. I think my best play is just to hope that maybe Incineroar is faster than Farigiraf and double up the Farigiraf with a knockoff plus a body press combination. I think that's like my best hope here. Because if it is Psychic, I'm taking too much damage with Como, I think. I think this should always be close combat into Incineroar and Psychic. Unless they want to double up with Wicked Blow Psychic, I guess that's fair as well. I kind of hope that's not the case. Oh, they did go for close combat. They... Why'd you crit me, man? Body press. That almost killed Farigiraf. Citrus Berry. Am I faster? Oh, they have Dazzling Gleam. That might have been one of the worst Teras I ever went for. With Incineroar. Knockoff going to come out into Farigiraf. Unfortunately, that is not going to help me here. And I guess I gotta go Frosmoth. Yeah, that's not pretty. That was not pretty at all. Unless Frosmoth can somehow come back in this game, but I don't think so, depending on... All their last Pokemon beat Frosmoth. It's Arcalodon, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think this is going to be a game where Frosmoth is going to be able to win this. So, yeah, what could I have done? I think the biggest concern that I had, maybe lead-wise, was just not good. I don't think... The thing is, the team did have a lot of flying weaknesses, and I didn't bring out the Porygon because I was too scared of a potential Imprison lead. So maybe I had to just lead Porygon anyway, and if they let Imprison, I just let it go up for that turn, because hopefully as long as I'm next to Como, like I think it's probably a better spot. Like Frosmoth was probably not even necessary for this game realistically. I just don't think it was really being able to sweep this like super physical heavy team. By the way, that flash kind of did nothing. That's just how broken Ice Scales is. Freeze! Wait. WinCon, that thing stays frozen for the entire remainder of the game. That thing stays frozen the entire remainder of the game. That's the play. That's the play. Come on, Frosmoth. Okay. Flash Cannon. Just taking way too much, right? How much was that doing? Quite a bit. I think I can win if Ice Beam 2 shots or crits freeze. I mean, or she has to stay frozen for like 3 turns, I think. Let's just see how much this Ice Beam does. I'm pretty sure 2+1 Ice Beams are always better than a +2 Ice Beam. So let's see, Arcalodon. Oh, wow, that took it better than I thought. Okay, I'm gonna need a crit or freeze again. Flash Cannon should survive 1. Yep. Need a crit or freeze into the Arcalodon. Need a crit or freeze, and then I need Urshifu to stay frozen for 2 more turns. If those happen, I win the game. Still staying frozen. Frosmoth Rob. No way. No way. No way. No way. No way. It's all about odds, baby. It's all about odds. There's no way. Frosmoth was like, I am not ending the video until we get to Master Ball tier because this was the last game I needed to hit the Master Ball tier. We're going 4-0 with Frosmoth in this video, baby. Oh my goodness, that was pure robbery. That was pure robbery. Oh, what a get! What is Pokemon? Frosmoth, this Pokemon, absolutely goated. Absolutely goated. I wish I could have shown this team off before like Rag was kind of over, but I've been traveling so much. But Frosmoth was like, yeah, you're glad I used him now, and like, yeah. Let's see the Master Ball tier. Easy. Even though it's like super late into the season, that's a 4-0. Can't believe it. All right, let's go over to games. In game 1 was able to outpace my opponent in damage output and then had a safe Trick Room setup where I was able to threaten the remaining Pokemon under Trick Room. In game 2, was not expecting the early Scarlet Violet rattled weakness policy Dunsparce to eliminate my Amoonguss turn 1, but Frosmoth, Tinglu, and Incineroar had no problem against the rest of my opponent's team, apparently sponging up the +2 attacks and was able to lower the damage with Snarl from the Dunsparce. In game 3, a rain team where I had to respect the Arcalodon if they had one. Frosmoth was able to set up Quiver Dances and easily sponge the hits while dishing out massive damage with only the Urshifu able to threaten it but was never able to hit the field safely. In game 4, played poorly into the Galarian Zapdos and should have most likely brought the Porygon 2 or Tera with Amoonguss to break the Focus Sash on Urshifu, with it being able to survive the Brave Bird, get rid of the flying type weakness, but Como would have also been healthier to take on the rest of the team. However, Frosmoth did not give up and just decided to go freeze everything, which, you know what? It really showcased it was something that I really want to showcase, and I'm glad I did. Overall, I think Frosmoth was a really cool Pokemon. I think it is really awesome what it can do with Tera. Just having a Pokemon with really, really poor defensive typing, a really cool ability, and I think it's really one of the unique showcases of Tera, where it's really able to up a Pokemon's viability by so much. If you would like to check out the details of the team and the creator, they'll be linked in the description down below. You can try out the rental code on your screen. Hopefully it is still available by the time you're watching this video, but otherwise you could subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.